Yeah. So, like I said, after a few years of education, Georgie and I have been together as partners for 5 years now. So, she was a huge part of helping me create this brand. And along with our partners, Joelle Gayona and Jade, they're part owners of Restore Cryotherapy. And they also helped us with this whole Elevate thing. But Elevate is ELVT, it's actually an acronym. It's 4 phases, and how we look at learning and replicating movement. So I come from a science background, and it's the scientific experiment approach to movement. So the first phase is explore. And in that phase, you're figuring out what exactly it is you're doing, where you are, and you're able to look at that like a map. So in your explore phase, imagine you're taking something in for the very first time and you're trying to find your edge of comfort at what you're doing. Explore is where you're able to see what's possible, what you're able to do, and the introduction to that. Mm-hmm. The second phase of Elevate is load, your load phase. So now you've taken your exploration, you see what's possible or what you think is possible. And then, like you said before, you find ways to add on challenge. So that could be by adding on weight, that could be by doing a specific thing faster or taking away stability. Those are like the major ways to make things more challenging. And then that's a lesson in itself, because you see where you need to work on, what you need to refine, and how you can push yourself further. The third phase of Elevate is V, which stands for Vanquish. So now this is the phase of your workout or your Elevate session where you've explored, you've loaded, which is the repetition of your explore, but with more and more challenge to really see where you're at. And your Vanquish is like your final expression of what you've learned throughout this session. T phase is the processing, the tune phase of Elevate. And it's the equivalent, it's like a computer that has taken in a new file and it needs to buff it, download it, and integrate it to the rest of the system. Tune phase is what is your time to do that with your body and your mind. So you've explored something, it could be brand new or something you've done for a while. You've loaded it, you've made it harder, more challenging. You've tested yourself to see how proficient you are at doing this thing, even with added challenge. You've hit your vanquish phase, which is your final expression of this thing, pushing yourself, cranking it up to 11, giving it all you got. And then the tune phase is where your brain is able to download, to process, to take in all of the lessons, and then to elevate yourself in the way you breathe, move, and think. So you're leveled up for that next session. Mm-hmm. So Elevate is a way for us to get good at getting good. It's either you want to learn a new language, may it be a movement language of any sort, or Elevate is really something that I can apply to, let's say, this conversation. In the beginning of our podcast, we're both exploring each other. We're learning about each other. I learned so much about you and your origins with nursing school. You learned about my name and medical school and all that. And then we were able to get deeper and deeper, which was adding on to what you learned from that first phase. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is the Vanquish phase right here, where I'm spewing out all of this, the accumulation of everything we've come up to. And then the tune phase is where you're really able to process that data.